got a letter from my father about my mother, Irene. She's gone missing. She has a habit of running off on an adventure at the drop of a hat and being gone for weeks at a time, but Dad says she's been out of touch for a while now. He's worried. It runs in the family. Well, Mom's side. Dad's a halalu trader she partnered with for years before settling down. Mostly settling down. She'd acquire all sorts of rare items for their clients, but my father said they haven't had any commissions. Mom neglected to mention it, I'm sure, but my father mentioned getting an angry letter from one of their old clients at the Stormhold Mages Guild, claiming she reneged on their arrangement after taking payment. Would you mind if we pay them a visit? Dad's letter said that the one raising a stink was an old client of theirs named Myrtolivian, a member of the Stormhold Mages Guild. Let's get to Shadowfen and see just what sort of trouble Mom got herself into this time. It's that obvious, eh? When Mom's in one of her flighty moods, it usually sorts itself out, but sometimes she gets so wrapped up in something it becomes an obsession. Someone has to talk some sense into her, and that someone is usually me. I got my mom's knack for adventure and my dad's level-headedness, so I'm the only one who's both crazy enough to go after her and sane enough to talk some sense into her. I also happen to be their eldest child, so it's my filial duty to the house. Not so much. Our family is of little consequence, so we're free to be a bunch of impetuous miscreants chasing our own whims. If I'd been born to one of the great houses, I'd either be a pawn in their schemes or a disappointment, like Father. He's a seventh son of a seventh son in House Halalu, so he wasn't going to amount to anything without climbing over his siblings. Dad's too sweet for that. So we wound up marrying into our little house for something as unprofitable as love. We lived there for a good few years when I was young. It was awkward at times. Argonians don't trust dark elves, for good reason. I like to think my parents showed them different, but not everyone warmed up to us. I know. It just ashes my hide that a few rotten fetchers ruined it for the rest of us. But that's not quite the truth. It's easy to blame it all on House Drez and the Telvanni, but they weren't the only ones keeping slaves before the Pact. No, my mom and dad never approved of it. I even had a cousin who was forced into servitude, and they helped my uncle free him at great risk to themselves. But our ancestors, that... I don't know. I really should. I've spent my life digging through all sorts of obscure history, and I've never really thought to look into my own. Embarrassing, really. Well, that'll have to wait until after we've tracked down my mother, though.
Let's ride!
Your timing is impeccable.
That high elf matches Myrtolivian's description. Ask him if he's seen Irene Alendis. I should probably hang back.
Do I know you? I don't believe I do. Huh. I don't see how that's any of your affair. But if you must know, I did cross paths with that unscrupulous dark elf, and I'm worse for it. What's your interest in Irene? I suppose she cheated you as well. She came to me seeking information, and given our long-standing association, I entrusted her with it on the assurance that she would do me a simple favor in return. Instead, she ran off and played me for a fool. No one makes a fool of me. And I really need the antique inkpot she promised to procure. I'll tell you what I told Irene, but only after my inkpot is returned to me and not a moment sooner. I'll not have my good faith taken advantage of again. My inkwell is currently in the possession of a banker here, the result of an ill-advised card game. They seem to enjoy lauding their victory over me, so they refuse to part with it at any price. I want it returned. I don't care how. It's one of a kind. The first work of the current Sapiarch of shape and form when they were still a student. Irreplaceable. I never thought an Argonian would beat me at the cards, but the banker has more of a head for numbers than I expected. I didn't. I just got so thoroughly thrashed at the table that I needed to offer collateral. Underroot must have known what a singular treasure it is. Now that she has it in her greedy claws, she'll never let it go. Willingly, anyway.
I caught the gist of that. That Sweat actually wanted my mom to rob a bank. I'm glad she had enough sense not to go through with it. Unless the reason we haven't heard from her is because she's in jail. No, she wouldn't. I mean, adventuring can be dirty business. My family is nothing but a bunch of no-good tomb robbers, depending on who you ask. But there's a big difference between digging through old ruins for treasure and outright stealing. No. If that were the case, she'd have written my father to pay her bounty. And while he should let her sit and learn her lesson, he's too much of a softie. She probably ran off like Mert said. So now it's us who have to get our hands dirty. Let's hope so. But if we do wind up breaking the law, I could have a worse partner in crime. You're a good friend. I can't believe I have to steal from a bank for my own fetching mother. This is why no one takes our house seriously. Casual, just two people admiring the decorations. Oh, this is such a nice bank, isn't it? Oh, such refined taste.
Barge in, why don't you? It's not like I'm trying to work. This is a private office. Well, as private as an office could be that has no door or walls and barely fits a desk. I used to work in a much larger bank. Of course you are. Let me guess. Mir Tulavon's still trying to get his antique inkwell back. I swear, ever since Underroot won that cursed thing, it's been one bother after another. I suppose it makes a nice distraction from the tedium. Not much of a windfall, but I suppose it'll take me a moment or two to update my ledger. I'm sure you can see yourself out. I'll just be over here counting my gold.
Got it? Let's not overstay our welcome.
Dare I ask, is the deed done? Is my little treasure to be returned to me at last? Do you have any idea how rare it is for a creation this ugly to survive on Somerset? Let alone one made by the premier authority on sculpture? I even had the original assignment's written grade. Barely satisfactory. It's priceless. At least Irene had an appreciation for rarities. I sent her to meet another antiquity hunter I deal with who made a discovery in Stone Falls that Irene would be interested in. Too interested. Edvilda Stonestalker. She was probing my interest in Dwemer relics. I've no interest in it, but I knew Irene has an unhealthy interest in them. She was camped near Steamfont, last I heard. That's all I can tell you, so our business is concluded.
Excuse me, I'm busy.
Load off at the end. Can never have enough of that. Edvilda? Someone killed her. Let's search the camp. Mom's scarf. Liam gave that to her last new life when she was headed to Skyrim for the Snow Bear plunge. She wouldn't have left it. Did Edvilda write down anything important? Mom was definitely here. She had to have gone in a hurry if she left this scarf behind. Did Edvilda write down anything that would clue us in on where my mother's gone? Oh, not that fetching thing again! Mom... She's been chasing after my grandfather's Dwemer puzzle box for decades. Ever since the old mer joined our ancestors at the tomb. It's her obsession. Don't tell me they got into a fight over it. Great. Just great. So the shifty Nord met my mother out here and ran afoul of bandits? That explains what happened to Edvilda, but Mom's not here, thank feck. But if she'd escaped, we'd have heard from her, right? They must have taken her captive. I've never been to the Inner Sea Armature. It must not be too far from Edvilda's camp. 3. I hope Mum's all right. Yeah! Nothing wrong with a little opportunistic harvesting. You, but now I'm going.
Circle around.
Wait, are you cooking?
Miri? Miri, am I glad to see you, Scrib. Get me out of these shackles. Don't mind Miri. She takes too much after her father. I've been dying to finally meet the person my daughter's been adventuring with. Though I hadn't planned on being chained up like a common criminal upon our first meeting. I was negotiating a lead from a contact I met out by Steamfont, and talks got a little heated. She was trying to take me for a ride, I could tell, and we must have caught the attention of these feckless swits. They tried to rob us. She tried to make a run for it, and they cut her down without a second thought. Figured I'd take my chances with another approach. Offered to be their cook if they spared my life. Fortunately, they aren't picky. I was beginning to run out of recipes. No, I suppose not. Won't be long before one of these fools gets bored or hungry and comes to swipe something from the pantry. You've done a fine job looking after Miri, so I'll follow your lead. But don't think we're done talking.
Can we please just get out of here now?
nicely done. I can see why you like them, Miri.
Don't think you're free and clear just because we escaped the bandits. What were you thinking?
Oh, come now, Miri. I've been
Nice
doing
haul.
this since before you were in diapers.
And you're not getting any younger. We almost lost Liam, and you nearly lost this. Would you trade it for that stupid puzzle box?
Liam's scarf. Miri, I'm sorry. I'm sorry I worried you all. It's just... I'll let it go.
We love you, Mom. We're your family. Go home.
Well, now I feel the fool. I made you all worry, dragged you into this mess. Sorry to be such a pain in the arse, as my daughter would put it. Maybe it's time I hung up my adventurer's ruck and settled in with my worrywart of a husband. I just hate leaving things unfinished. It was my father's prized possession. He spent decades trying to unravel its mysteries, until it was stolen from him. Then he spent the rest of his life trying to get it back, and most of mine after he died. I thought it might finally make him happy.
I know it probably seems like I'm being harsh, but Mom's been at this more times than I can count. She promises to give up on it, but then she catches some whiff of a lead about that damn box and she's off like a race squaw. This time, death was the only thing that stopped my grandfather from chasing after that stupid trinket. I don't want it to be the same for her. You can only keep rolling the dice in this life for so long. I hope so. Probably not. But I've weighed her down with enough guilt to hold her for a little while, at least. Either way, sorry for dragging you into my family drama. Are you kidding? If I don't get you out of here, she'll make you meet the entire extended family. Davin's watch is just down the road. She can make her way home from there. Thank you for putting up with all this. I'll make it up to you. Change of plans?